This is Suspenders Unbuttoned, a podcast where friends talk with friends about TV, movies, and books.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Julie, and we're excited to welcome Jake Foy with us today. Welcome, Jake.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Julie.
How are you guys?
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We are so excited for you and your new show, which is Ride, which just premiered last weekend on the Hallmark channel. So Congratulations.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
It's a fun show. So this is actually a series and not just a movie.
Yeah.
So it's going to have 10 episodes is what we've been able to figure out. Can you tell us a little bit about Ride the series?
Yeah. Well, Ride is obviously the Hallmark original series that I've been lucky enough to be working on for, I guess it's been 9 months since I first learned about it. And obviously the story centers around the McMurray family, having recently suffered a loss together, and their journey working through that loss and their rodeo dynasty and ranching community and all of the twists and turns that come in between.
So you play Tough, which is the youngest McMurray brother.
Yeah. I know there are some honorary McMurray, so you got to get around
right.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Tough. We learned that you sing, and you're, I don't know what is the role where you Tough goes into the gate and like coaches, or what?
They call it bullfighting. Yes. Okay. It's a bit interchangeable with rodeo clowning, depending on where you're at in the history of things. But Tough is the family bullfighter. But at the top of our show, after our first teaser, he's also taking a hiatus from that for personal reasons to Foreman McMurray Ranch.
Yeah.
And it's not long before fate redirects him back to that calling of keeping his brother safe.
I love the foreman piece for the ranch, and then Mama McMurray, she's a tough cookie, and she doesn't share all her things with her foreman's son.
Yeah, no. Well, that relationship is so fantastic because Nancy Travis is as hardworking off screen as she is on. She is a real matriarch, and we joke all the time as a cast that we're so lucky to be Nancy's TV children. I mean, she's had TV daughters go on to be Emmy nominated. She just radiates integrity. It's a fantastic workspace to be in. But yes, definitely for Isabel and for all of the characters in our show, there are some secrets that will unfold over the course of the season, of course. But yes, we're on hard times as a group off the top of our show.
Some secrets. I feel like the whole first episode was a giant secret.
Yeah. Hey, it'll keep you tuned in, we hope.
Right?
Definitely.
No, but that one scene with the two of you, I love that. Like we're like totally family, but that slight tension right there. Like, but who's doing what and what are you telling me? It's spectacular.
Yeah, it's a really lucky thing. There's more arm wrestling. Who's in charge over the course of 10 episodes? I promise that.
That'll be fun.
Did you have a favorite scene from episode 1?
Oh man, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is obviously the bandstand scene at the dance hall. That was really special for me because I had been in guitar lessons. I do sing. All the singing you hear on the show is mine, but guitar is completely new to me. So I was with a coach while the rest of the ensemble cast was taking 2-step lessons. So I hadn't been able to see them work through the 2-step until we were there shooting. And I get this wonderful vantage point that's kind of up and above from being up on that stage. So as you can imagine, for a sequence that's that complicated, our amazing director, Paolo Barsman, is a maestro, but it's still a full day of shooting to cover all that stuff. So that's a favorite for me, just to get to watch my colleagues do their thing and to get to do what I love to do with music and storytelling. It was very early in our shoot schedule too, so it was all those butterflies of new friendships and all that.
Yeah. The singing is spectacular. I'm just gonna say it. The music is fantastic. Is there going to be more?
Well, I can say there will be another appearance of music somewhere in the first season. I can't say exactly where or how, but I'm thrilled to hear it. It's great that audiences are responding. Obviously, country music has a special place in a lot of people's hearts, and I hope there will be more for Tough over the course of what we hope to be many seasons.
Yeah,
not just episodes of the show.
I mean, that one bar scene must have taken so long to film because there's a lot of moving pieces. I mean, literally, and like so many different storylines happening at the same time. So can you tell us a little bit more about that process?
Yeah, moving pieces and moving people, of course. I'm just seeing some of the comments come in, and there's sort of a link between the learning curve on the rodeo and ranching and all the moving pieces you're talking about. We're very, very lucky in that we get to film on location in the valley, just outside of. Oh, my dog's gonna try and appear in here. We shoot in the valley just outside of Calgary, Alberta, but the Western way of life is actually really predominant here. So we are supported by a crew of film and TV professionals whose personal lives also exist on ranches, and they know rodeo very well. So whether it's our makeup and hair team through to the actual wranglers and coaches, we are, as a cast, supported full time by people who live and breathe this lifestyle. So that really, really helps with the authenticity of what we get to do as performers. But yes, there's some really complicated sequences. Obviously, anytime that there's bull riding or bullfighting going on, there's an extensive team to make sure everybody is safe, but that we also get the most dynamic footage that we can.
Yeah. Well, the bar scene, I was the amount of things that are started there, the amount of storylines that are like, you can see who's got what going on where. I'm like, this is spectacular. I love a good
you gotta pay attention.
Rewatch the bar scene, and then you're singing the whole time, whether it's in the forefront or the background. It's spectacular. I'm like, this is my favorite scene for sure, was the bar scene.
I have to give big credit to Hallmark for taking on something of this scale. It's a notoriously challenging time to get something made of this scope. And I know I won't speak for the cast, but we're all thrilled anytime we get to do something of this magnitude, because it speaks to the grandeur of the world. The people that live in this space know your whole community gets together for a rodeo or a night out at the ranching bar. So it's very, very lucky.
Yeah, we have a comment here that says Sandra says, I love his voice. And I think you're gonna have a fan club here pretty soon at this rate.
So lucky.
Yeah.
Except for, she also said, except for Marcus got killed in 10 minutes. I'm gonna correct that. It was not Marcus. It was Austin McMurray. Marcus is alive.
Yeah, Marcus is very much alive, and we hope that he continues to be. 8 seconds for Austin, but for those Marcus Rosner fans, I know we saw a little bit of flashback off the top of the show. We get to go back in time to before that fateful day. So we may or may not get to do a little more of that, see a little bit more of my oldest brother. But you'll have to stay tuned to find out.
Yes, Marcus did a community service announcement yesterday. That was like, Hallmark has asked me to say.
Yes, he's great. Marcus has been so great. He's worked with Hallmark and as his own creative entrepreneur.
Got a great production company.
Yeah, and in that way, it's really life imitating art. He's a mentor for me as a creator and storyteller, and all of the relationships on the show oddly mimic in some ways our real life relationships. Me and Sarah always competing in little
Right.
ways. We get to be that way, and maybe it's the show that does it to us. But with Marcus, he's with us for these little glimpses of time when he's shooting, and they're really great moments for me because I do look up to him, I have to say.
Yeah, we love chat. We've had him on twice now, and it's always really an interesting conversation because he's just doing so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
And a gentleman, always.
Always,
agree.
gentleman, right?
Yeah.
No, he's a great guy. So yeah, people were like upset. They were like, "Wait, where's the same as Sandra? Where's Marcus?
Where's our favorite? He's already gone." Yeah, you have to get to know us instead.
Character, not the person." But yeah, no, super fun. Is there what? So your character Tough, which is first of all, whoever picked the names, this is spectacular name.
Our creators, Rebecca Boss and Chris Messi, they come from this world. Chris more television and Rebecca more ranching and rodeo. But one of my first questions was, is Tough short for Tyler? Is it like, what's the name?
No.
She goes, nope, Tough's on the birth certificate. That's exactly who he is. And it's so cool to get to meet people like this. There's a member of our crew who's named Trigger. This is a real piece of the world that you get to experience. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. What do you like? What do you like best about Tough? Like, what do you admire the most about him?
Oh man, I mean, qualities I like to think we share are a value of honesty and integrity and loyalty. Putting loved ones first, that's a big thing for Tough. And I think probably, without giving anything away, part of Tough's inevitable journey through the world, he's taken on a lot and a lot of deep responsibility from what's happened with Austin, and then now with the responsibility of the ranch and family. These are things that totally speak to me, and a space to get creative and have your creative work be an outlet for your art. That's something that we share as well.
Yeah, I love that. Is there anything that you disliked about Tough as you were going through this?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
We get this question a lot less often, but
I
think Tough is a little bit earlier in his journey to having space for people's faults. I think he can be a little bit unforgiving, and like me as well, a little unrelenting. He's not going to let you get away with pulling the wool over his eyes, and we're the same that way. But I like to think I handle those situations in my real life with a little bit more grace than he does for now. But he's technically, I think, about 6 years my junior. He's just past 25, and I'm now 32. So he's got some time to mature.
It's good. He can't be too perfect, right? We need to watch his journey.
Right.
Growth. Yeah.
You have to have an arc to the storyline, right? Otherwise you lose the interest, right?
Yes, that's true. We've all got something to fight against and push up against off the top of the show. For sure.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. A lot of things. Okay, so tell us if how do I want to phrase this? Well, we love to look for little Easter eggs throughout. Usually it's a movie. This is a series. So if you can even think of something from last week's episode when we rewatched that we can kind of look for that maybe we didn't notice the first time, or if you have something that's upcoming that we can keep an eye out for.
It depends on how small the egg, but there are
whatever you want.
There are two glances that I can think of that come to mind. One sort of follows through. We've met Julian now, but there's another knowing glance that happens toward the end of the episode that definitely plants the seed of some storyline that we're about to embark on. Yes. The plot thickens from only two glances.
Yeah, Lance with Julian. That was one of the bajillion things that happened in the.
Whoa, yeah.
The bar scene, yeah.
Yes.
But it is funny because we talk about watching it again. I sometimes think I've now, we're very fortunate in that we get to see the episodes just before the world does. But I happen to be, I call myself a fan of the show now, not just because of my part in it, but because of how proud I am of everyone's work on the series. And I forgot where we even began with this. I get so swept away with how exciting it is to watch it. It's that, yeah. I mean, I've rewatched it, and I sometimes think, is that just because I'm so proud of everyone's work? But there's something new to get out of the pilot from rewatching, which is really cool. Usually, that's only the case with cinema, like you say, with films. But there are stories that have been in the world of Ride and the McMurray, stories that have been accumulating for decades now, right? So there's a wealth of plot to unfold over hopefully some good seasons coming ahead.
I think Ride that pilot did a really nice job of letting you know there are decades back there, right?
Wow, yeah. And what a lucky thing to get to play as actors, to not have your characters all colliding in the pilot for the first time, to have that backstory that Rebecca and Chris and all of our writing team has built. It's a lovely thing to lean on.
Well, even like there's that Isabel is Nancy Travis, her character Isabel McMurray, and Greg plays the mayor.
Greg Lawson as Hank Hickson. What a star, huh?
I love their interactions, because you also know there's decades of something there, and I can't quite figure out what it is, if it's good or bad.
Yeah. Well,
and they're great together. I'm like, those scenes are kind of spectacular.
All of our, I think of myself even as part of the supporting cast in a way, but partly because we're all there for each other and the stories are so interwoven. But I can say, I think that Greg calls Calgary home, and the area that we shoot in, he's beloved here, and obviously for sure by fans too. The detail of his work, the level of professionalism and preparedness that he brings to every workday, he's a really dynamic guy. He's awesome.
I kind of like that his character pushes things a little bit, and that's clearly what he's there for, right?
He's an engine. I mean, he's not mayor for nothing.
Right. I was like, oh, this is good. I like this. Yeah. This is fun. It just makes it kind of fun. And I don't know. It's tough going to have to deal with him at some point as foreman of the ranch.
Well, there will be a little bit of time between Tough and some Hickson overlap. I can say we'll have to see how, but yes.
I love how like so many storylines are kind of set up out of this first episode, which is the goal for a pilot, but not all are very successful, and it's just kind of fun to see them playing out. Because you walked away and you're like, oh, there's a lot to unfold here.
We hope so.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite location on set to film?
Oh man.
I mean, it's just also beautiful.
There are so many. There is, I don't know if this, there is a local bar here that is well known in Calgary, Alberta, called Ranchman's. And I don't think gives anything away to say we got to shoot there, but to add to that, it's a country western bar where the walls are lined with local rodeo champions and their accomplishments. So to get to work with a crew that knows and loves this world in an environment they know and love, on material that involves the whole canyon. I think I'm trying to be very careful about it. I feel like I can relate to Tom Holland and the world of Marvel now. I'm like, I can't say we'll get me in trouble. But it's obviously fantastic when we get to be Canyon, Colorado, together. And that includes all of our wonderful, I have to give a shout out to all of our background and extra performers, because they're some of the best I've ever seen or worked with. They are not there to pull focus or to find their break. They're there to make the world rich, and they do such a fantastic job at that, the best I've ever seen. So shout out to anyone who's come and played with us on the show as an extra or background. We really appreciate it.
That would be fun to do.
That's super fun.
That's
another Easter egg to look for, is the bar. We'll be watching as we go forward.
Yeah. There are some regulars, that's for sure.
Sheila in the comments, we talked about this before we went live, says, off topic, but that is a gorgeous picture behind Jake.
That's very sweet, Sheila. Thank you. This is actually a picture of an Alberta landscape. Everything's mirror image here, so I'm just trying to do it justice. But thank you so much. It was a recent purchase and does a little bit of reminding me of the view. My first time here in Calgary, I was housed up and off the ground in a high rise, and you really can see a panorama of the mountains. And the more you head towards Canmore and Banff, these views are not uncommon. It's beautifully picturesque here, and you'll get to see even more of that over the course of season 1. And it's breathtaking. I fumble my words when I talk about it because it's remarkable. And I normally call Vancouver home, which is also obviously very photogenic. So this area is a very, I don't even want to say close second. It's tied in its own way.
It's tied.
I love that. I have a question about music again. I'm going back. So the music, do you, when you shot that in the scene with everybody there, but did you record in a studio or did you do it live?
Yeah. So the way that this process works generally is that there will be a studio pre-record, and then when I don't know how much magic this takes out of it, but I think it's cool for people to know. I was such a nerd about
love
this. Yeah, exactly. So for me, I'll go into guitar lessons with my coach, shout out to Mason, and start learning the chord patterns, and then take that music into studio. We'll record the song in full, no matter what gets used in the edit. And then there's an amazing sound team on set that does a multitude of things depending on what we're shooting. So when we shoot my coverage, there's a full playback in the room. Everyone that is dancing or otherwise gets to engage in that timeline as we're setting, blocking, and marking the scene. This all happens so we understand where everything is in the music and when. And then when we film the scene intercuts, there are earpieces in my ear and the band's ear that feeds back the track in real time, so that all of the chording and music is timed to sync. And and then when we add dancing to that matrix, there's what's also called the thump track. Yeah. So the downbeat of the song is being kept with a very silent thud that doesn't ruin the dialogue of the characters that are speaking, but also makes it possible to dance. And then music is still in mine and the band's ear. So this is a huge technical accomplishment. Yeah. I know really well from my work in the movie musical space, but also I just want to do it justice because, again, it's created an opportunity for me that I am trying not to take for granted. And in that process, it's very, very brave of Hallmark to take on something of this scale. It's just one more component that seems so seamless when you get to watch at home, but it actually takes a week of preparation, and all those files that we get, whether they're music or the thump track, or they're all broken down, those get engineered and delivered through all the departments and approved on, so that by the time we point a camera at it, there are no questions. And it takes a lot of hard work to make me look so comfortable.
Well, something tells me you're comfortable anyway, because we know, I feel like this is a good segment, so we'll come back to Ride, but you have movie musicals out there. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I come from a music theater training background. I'm an alumni of Sheridan College, which is probably the most prestigious school you can go to in Canada, at least north of the border. And I did a wonderful 3 years there. I was very lucky to be a part of the development of Come From Away, which ended up on Broadway. And it was from that template of watching success move up and through Canada in a way that it never had at that scale. Like Come From Away did, I think, something like 10 productions worldwide with companies everywhere from Europe to Australia. And it was from watching that process that I stepped into the dream I had always had of shaping movie musicals. So early on, I did a very short that I don't even know if I could find now, called Christine and Kirstine with the Second City Toronto. And then after that, a 5-minute proof of concept called Before They Were Them, which you can totally watch on YouTube. Before They Were Them, a musical short film. Yeah, and then and just recently working with Drew Gasparini, who's New York based, has some exciting upcoming projects that I'm not sure if I can speak to formally, so I won't, but did work with Melissa McCarthy on her Super Bowl commercial. His music, some iconic tracks from the Tom and Lucy universe have been adapted for the screen with my original screenplay in a 40-minute short called More Together. And my producing team and I, which includes my partner Nicholas, my great friends Curtis Brown and a friend Allison Almeida. We're currently submitting to festivals with that. So no word yet on where or when you can watch it, but hoping that we're received as fondly as Ride's been received in these first few days.
That would be fun to be able to get to see that at a film festival somewhere. So we'll watch to see if that gets accepted somewhere during film festival season. So
yes, we'll keep you posted as well.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that my team keeps you in the know.
Definitely.
Okay, Sheila, you saw
look up Before They Were Them. I really enjoyed that one. Julie, did you get to watch it?
I did.
Yeah.
Sheila saw it Come From Away.
Yes, of course.
It's a beautiful show. Yeah, sorry, I diverted, and then it's this, this video call delay. But yes, thanks for watching, Sarah and Julie. I really appreciate that. It was a labor of love for everyone involved. Even just that 5 minutes, we shot in 2 days on a very modest budget. It's opened a lot of doors. So if anyone's out there listening, young or old, and you've got a story in your heart and a vision for it, don't be afraid to go make something. It can really change things. And before I ever knew Tough McMurray would be an opportunity for me, musical storytelling was a big part of my vision for what I wanted to do, which is part of why the role is so lucky. But glad you enjoyed Come From Away, Sheila. I'll relay your enthusiasm to the composers and writers. They'll be thrilled.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's so cool that Sheila got to see that.
I know.
Yeah. I recommend it. If it comes to your town, get tickets.
So the music from the show, is that going to be available anywhere like Spotify?
Great question. I mean, well, put the pressure on to get the. Oh, this is my dog Daisy. She's got an itch.
Yes. All puppies are always welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, what a cute.
The music is actually currently available, I believe. The episode 1, all but my covers. There are some music is very. Yeah, it's nuanced from a legal standpoint. I'm not even sure I know the details or if there were even any challenges there. But I know for a fact that the soundtrack, which is fantastic, by the way, the network has been so great in their selects. There's some awesome tunes in that first episode alone. And I think if the word on the wind serves me, there are some even more niche selections coming up in later episodes that I know the creative team is really excited to share with viewers. So go listen to that soundtrack because it's selected with care.
Awesome.
We will. I feel like the music, actually, let's say good music, is a new thing to the network. So it's really fun. The way it's all got some great music and now Ride. So it just adds a whole extra.
Yeah. Well, I can't say enough good about the new leadership that's at the network and how important it is for them to engage an audience with as dynamic a material as they possibly can. So from the top down, that has been a very conscious move. So it's flattering that you say so. And I was almost like, oh, can we say anything? But there obviously was a changing of the guard at Hallmark not too long go. And everyone that's there now is they've got taste. I agree.
Yeah. No, as viewers, we've noticed too, like we saw over the last year, we've seen a couple of movies have the actual music for it. In the past, it was like some variation that wasn't real. Ticket to Ride was a movie, and it had Ticket to Ride for the music. You're like, yes, get the right music there. My Grown Up Christmas List had My Grown Up Christmas List in it. So
Right.
we love seeing that we're hearing this higher quality music.
Yeah, I mean, there are some like heavy hitters in that first episode alone, just some like some knockout tunes.
Right.
Even the covers I get to do, I happen to love. I think one of them's a Canadian band that I just wanted you to know is by a Canadian band called the Hunter Brothers, and our one of our musicians, the electric guitarist, he had worked with some of these people had worked with these bands.
No way.
Some like international hits, obviously Shania Twain's on that list.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. But yes, and Eric Church, Sheila.
Yeah.
That Eric Church song is great. When we were leaving the rodeo.
Right.
It's awesome. Heart on Fire, I think it's called.
Right.
It's a great tune.
Super fun. That Tough is very much about that musical world. So that's
Oh man. Well, I mean, it is part of the world. Country music is, I grew up with it. My dad always he listened to a lot of everything, but country music was something that I think when you go to the city and you go to arts college, you want to like put it in the rear view mirror and like I never admit that it happened, but it's been really it's been great. I know
those artsy kids.
Ego thing. It has nothing
edgy
to do with
stuff.
anything else. And it's been really nice to go back to my childhood in this way and explore some of the music that I grew up on through a totally new lens by getting to bring it to the table in my creative work, which is so cool.
You know, country music isn't that huge around where I live, although it's gotten bigger in the last maybe 10 years. But I always keep the station on in the car, like as one of my stations to go through because I'm trying to like learn it and love it. But anyway, all that to say, there was a ride promotion on my local country station. So I thought that was really cool. They were like, make sure you tune into Hallmark and watch this rodeo show. So
yeah,
really
they
fun.
have a really intelligent team reaching out to exactly the right markets, and hopefully after we reach the world that knows and loves rodeo, we'll get a little bit of word of mouth out there, and then people that wouldn't have otherwise will start tuning in outside their regularly scheduled programming, and I think we're on track to find our audience.
I very much think you're on track to find your audience. I think it will gain momentum, and it goes out to Peacock, so the streaming services, and I'm pretty sure all of Hallmark goes out to Peacock now, right? So
yes, the Hallmark Hub is on Peacock. I think that's also where it can be streamed live, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then there are also third-party providers that I don't have a list of where you can buy in to watch the show if your streaming resources are limited or we don't have enough funds to throw around and subscribe to everything. That it's somewhere you can find it somewhere. I can say that for sure.
Friendly's a very budget friendly one that a lot of people use Friendly to catch.
Oh, very cool. I don't know if we have that up in Canada, but it sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's one of the big, and you can get Hallmark movies and mysteries on it too, and things like that.
Stations like that.
And I should say for Canadian viewers, just so I can look out for my fellow Canucks, we are on CTV Drama and streamable via CTV Online as well. So feel free to log on. You can find us there.
Glad you said that.
Yeah. That's good to know, because so they can stream it also. It's interesting because as people's watching habits change, it's harder to interpret numbers anymore. People they have to get numbers from like the whole week as opposed to
I think, am I allowed to say? I think this is public knowledge. I think we did 1.3 million on
Yep.
just the premiere evening, and then numbers will continue to come in for a whole week. And I know I've got a few people with PVR on there. We were competing with Succession, which I'll admit I'm a fan of as well.
Yeah.
So it was that time slot where you had last season of Succession or first episode ever of this new series. So I'm really proud of how we've done, all things considered, because that's a boxing match, that shows a juggernaut. So
right. Succession, yes.
For sure. That we can't have in a first episode. That's just the truth.
I just think the ability to stream something whenever you want then is such a, it's huge. It lets you just still be involved with something and as it's coming out. And so many people just watch TV that way now. They don't actually watch at a specific time.
Yeah, so. I'm one of them. We work really long, inconsistent hours in this industry. So trying to make an air date is really, really difficult, which is I think probably why a lot of film and TV people were behind on their viewing for years and years and years. And it's nice to be able to watch and enjoy now with our audience in that sort of like staggered reveal. And it's great to have new interest rolling in. You can feel all the love over the course of a whole week now instead of just in that one moment. So it's been fantastic.
So did you have like a little viewing party or anything to celebrate?
A few, yeah. So we premiered, we had our red carpet, which was a green carpet.
Yep.
The network did this fantastic like grass roll out.
It was fun.
Beautiful. Yeah. But it was our red carpet, just wasn't red. And then we also met up while we were still in Los Angeles at a bar that was called Sassafras. I don't know my LA neighborhoods as well as I should, but one wonderful Western spot that our creators were gracious enough to host us at. And we watched in real time as a cast with them, with a number of people that were working in town or whoever was available. And that was really special too, because the whirlwind of PR was a few days in the rear view. So we got to really kick back, and there was a new relief to watching it in that way, to just knowing that the world was going to meet it and there was nothing left to change or say right or do perfectly. It was just time. And and that was really special. I got a little misty on that evening. I won't lie. Not my finest moment, but it was hard to fight back.
Right.
But you all must feel so proud of it. So
I
probably would have teared up too.
Yeah, and our creators in particular who were hosting, they are not from the world of film and TV. They did this by pulling up their bootstraps and just working hard on a really original concept for this long, and it speaks to their work ethic, and that work ethic is part of our story, obviously, in the world of Canyon and everything McMurray. So it was an honor to be there with them, really, truly.
Right. I love that all the names in this series just are spectacular. The town's name is Canyon. And I'm like, Canyon, Colorado. Oh, it's so good.
And when that rolls out of Greg Lawson's mouth, it just sounds all the bigger, right?
Right. Exactly. And he's like, and you are Canyon, Colorado's last hope or something.
I know. Oh, man.
The pressure.
That was a fun like bonus, is like just the Greg Lawson. He just is like that guy. It's like he's been in Canyon his whole life, man.
He's at the center of a lot, actually. It's funny because you know the way these series get their ensemble cast happens in a sort of like funny order where people have to fill in depending on their blood relation, and they start obviously from the top and then sort of work their way through that maze. And I think Greg would have come on board a little bit after the rest of the McMurrays, and maybe even just one higher after Tyler or something like that. But it feels like he's been there. Like he was, if Nancy's number one on the call sheet, then Greg is zero. Like he was just burrowed in
there
like,
in Canyon.
he's in the fabric for sure. But that's how it feels to me anyway. I can't.
No, that's outstanding casting, right? When you get somebody that just fits like that.
That's again,
the casting is so good.
So good.
It really is hard to articulate, to be honest. The way we relate to one another, like I say, is so uncanny with our real life relationships. And of course there's not as much tension or
right.
linked to commercial, but it's a real family environment, and to call that work, to call that your workplace, it's a blessing. I can't say enough good about the job that I get to do.
Question in the chat.
Yeah.
How long was Ride in development before it got greenlit for production?
Great question, Sheila. I don't know the exact timeline of this, so I don't want to misrepresent anything, but I do know that you can kind of track back and through that this show had been pitched to one of the now Hallmark executives when she was in a different stead. And through her brilliance, it was one of the first things that she brought to the network in the restructuring we talked about earlier, and just knew that there was something in the sauce. And that is about all I know for timeline. And before that, the genesis, though, I think at least I can say at least 3 years, I think maybe even closer to 5. And it's one of those things that has taken different shapes and forms over time. So you'll have to talk to Rebecca and Chris on this podcast sometimes to get an exact timeline. I'm sure. Yeah. But
that will be coming.
But I can also say that this might be a point of interest. We were brought to Calgary and the surrounding area almost a month before we began principal photography. So outside of development, pre-production included a lot of rodeo training, riding training, all that stuff, a little bit of additional guitar for me, and some of the prep for episode 1 with the music and recording. We were getting all those systems in place during that time. Obviously, Tierra and Bo deal more extensively with the stunt team for different reasons because of some of the, I don't want to use the word dangerous, but more difficult aspects of the rodeo world we represent. I know we get to watch Missy do some of that trick riding off the top of the pilot, and the experts that come to make sure that we're able to play these characters and be very, very safe and not have to learn these like lifelong accumulation of skills. They're there for us the whole time. So a month is pretty impressive, I think, for what we achieve over a short space.
Right.
How long before you started did you find out you got the role?
That is a wild timeline. Only really 9 additional days.
No way.
That's my story to it. And I know that number because we were slotted to shoot more together at the end of, was it mid-end of July in Vancouver? And I booked this show like 72 hours or something before we were slotted to shoot. The production was gracious enough to allow me the extra time. I actually arrived a week later than everyone else because of this. So we were in principal photography for More Together. That took 5 days to shoot on a really tight timeline and with a fantastic crew that made that possible. And then I showed up, started riding lessons, joined the family. We were off to the races from there. So I say a month, but it was actually 3 weeks for me. I oversold my prep time.
Oh, that's spectacular. So you have this big musical theater background, and you went to school for essentially musical theater program. When did you get started into acting or musical theater or any of those things?
Yeah, it's been a non-linear timeline for me. It was always something that I loved. It was probably around grade 4 or 5 that I would take a weekly class or something. Had a grade 5 teacher named Irene Cavelli who kind of gave me the few lines in the Christmas show at school or whatever it was. Then moved into, you can't do that much film and television from Niagara Falls, Ontario, and it's a world that my parents knew nothing about.
Right.
So I wasn't the type of kid that was auditioning his whole childhood. That just was on the table for me. So moved up and through that, did some community theater and musicals and some training that ended up bringing my path to intersections with people that were working at Sheridan College. Are very happy to be there. And while I was studying architecture and landscape design and not really going to class as much as I should, I auditioned for a production of High School Musical that was going to be at Theatre Aquarius in the like Greater Toronto area, and met a crazy talented group of people that now have worked on Broadway at the Stratford Festival. One, Camille, if you can hear this, was starring as Nala in The Lion King on tour at the same time I was premiering in LA. All these Canadians from the suburbs, but that cast was that was my first profession. That was my first paycheck as an actor, and an
High School Musical.
High School Musical live.
I love that.
Hey, Jack Scott, the like radio host that is not but in the show. And from there went to Sheridan College, did 3 years of that. And then to be fair to as much as I mentioned my music theater training, it just became clear to me that sustaining an 8-show week was going to be
a lot
past my facility. Like there are other things I wanted to do. There are other places that I wanted to put my energy, and I wasn't going to be able to do that and commit the amount of energy and time that it takes to work at that caliber. I have such an admiration for the people that do. My partner and I went to New York at Christmas. We saw 8 shows in 7 days. Like it is a love of mine, but it's not something that it's not for the faint of heart.
Nope.
You're steaming your voice and saying no to going out with friends, and everything revolves around the work. And this is obviously very disciplined as well, but in a different, like hyper saturated way that makes it more suited to me. I don't want to say better or worse or harder or easier, because it comes with its own challenges. But it's something I've always loved. It's how I came to the art form. Rob Marshall's Chicago, the feature, was probably what really tipped me over into wanting to pursue musicals in the first place. That and a touring production of Les Mis I went to in high school. But those two things together kind of brought me to the right place, right time kind of thing. And then I ended up doing more directing and writing because there were lulls in the work that I wanted to feel creatively purposeful through. And this is the case for a lot of people. And I wouldn't trade those years for anything. And they may yet come. There may be more of them in my future. And it's nice to know that you can build a career in this business without just waiting for work. You can create work for yourself. And I encourage anyone who's listening, again, I have any advice really to offer, but just find that time for yourself and to know what your lens on storytelling is, not just when you're for hire, but when you're the storyteller in its purest form. I think it's important.
I love that. We always say everyone's got who's in that we have on also has a side hawk. And so and it's like, it's that driven purpose that I see, and so many of the people we talk to, they have a driven purpose and they will work that however it needs to be. And I love hearing about it. Right. So,
well, it's a wild world out there. It's the Wild West. You gotta have stuff on the go that can take you away from all the distractions and all the noise that can be out there, and really bring you back to your own center. And I just feel lucky to know what that is. Some people go their whole lives without finding that passion. And I feel fortunate to be able to define it at all.
Absolutely. Hey, so we're getting to the end of the hour, so I say we play a game really quick.
Yeah, our game that's not a game. Let's play our game that's not a game.
Our fake game. All right, so it's just a game of favorites. So do you have a favorite rom-com?
Ooh, the first okay, there are two. They're really, really different. I think 500 Days of Summer is a beautiful rom-com, and kind of in the indie world, a little less conventional. And then Just Friends with early Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart is hilarious. Yeah. I don't know how that would fare. I don't know how politically correct it is anymore. I'm vouching for it, and I haven't seen it in years. And not that that's the first lens on watching, but I think about it and I'm like, I wonder, because it's been ages. But 500 Days of Summer would be top of that list. That's second, and then romantic dramas. I have to mention too. About Time is fantastic. Those People is really fun. That's a queer select that I think is really like off the beaten path and really, really cool. So that's plenty. This is supposed to be lightning questions. I went on a rambling speech.
No,
we love the rambling. Actually, I have watched so many things just from what we've heard during these questions. It's been fantastic.
Great way to get recommendation.
No, it is. And if people are like, wait, I haven't seen that, I'm going to go watch that again. Yeah. Okay, so what's your favorite TV show? Or what are you streaming currently too?
What am I streaming? This is definitely on the vulgar side, but The Boys is a great show on Prime Video. Really cool social commentary in that show. Big Succession fan, even though we compete for the time slot. Big on that. I love The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I think that show is excellent as well. And I'm trying to think. That's what comes to mind. I think that'll be it for now, but maybe one will come to me. I'm trying to think of some recent performances I've loved on TV too. And that's it. That's the short list.
It's a good list.
What do you just turn on for comfort? I'm just going to turn it on because that's my
Great question. Oh man, I kind of I'm a comedy special guy. Because an hour is so approachable, as you know, from we're counting down the hour. And that's definitely one of those genres. Sometimes I'll watch Titanic just to get grounded again and remind myself what I loved as a kid. And Birdman's a film, but I have to put it on the list because it was life-changing for me. And it's
Birdman is
watching. I watch it on my birthday sometimes just to be like, what do you love?
So good.
Yeah.
So good though. So good. Birdman.
Okay, what about a favorite food? Maybe something what's your healthy favorite and something you like to indulge in?
Yeah, great question. I'm a meat and vegetables guy in general, but sushi is not even really an indulgence, I wouldn't say. But we have some of the best sushi in Vancouver, Canada. Just amazing sushi. And while I'm in Calgary in particular, the barbecue is probably my death row meal. I don't know if that's too heavy, but you ever get asked that parlor game question? If you got one final meal, what would it be? And ribs and coleslaw and potato salad and coconut cake and all that bacon wrapped corn, all that highly indulgent, even broccoli salad with raisins and walnuts. That stuff is that's my bread and butter. And then that's kind of health. I guess you can do meat and vegetables healthy or that. And I'm a sucker for a good meal salad too.
Yeah.
A salad with everything and a little salmon fillet or something, or a really good Cobb. That's I might do that after this. Actually, there's a place called Sea of Salt in Calgary that's great in the Mission area, which might be on my list after this.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll go.
Great.
Get
it on a flight. Yeah, exactly.
Hopping on over there.
Yeah.
Right. So favorite drink. What's your favorite drinks?
Ooh, I mean, if it's most consumed, it's LaCroix or LaCroix. People call it the coconut. LaCroix is sparkling water. I guzzle sparkling water. It's if we find out that there are negative impacts to sparkling water consumption, I am done. Like it's I'm ruined. But that, or like a really crisp beer on a hot summer day is fantastic. Or if it's going to be a cocktail, like a lean Paloma or margarita, like tequila, fresh juice soda, salt rim, can't beat it.
Sarah can probably make you one.
Oh, can't wait.
I don't remember all the. I used to bartend back in my
Okay, so it'll be a good one. Okay.
20s. It was a long time ago. How about your favorite musical? You alluded to it a little bit, but
Yeah, favorite movie musical for sure is going to be Rob Marshall's Chicago. I'm really excited about the live action Little Mermaid. I have to put that out there.
Yeah.
It's just going to be the perfect combination of nostalgia and high art. I'm overselling it without having seen it, but I'm really excited for that.
I think everybody's overselling it without seeing it.
Amazing. You can be excited. We're allowed to be excited.
Yes.
We're open to being let down. We're allowed to be excited. That, and I love a Stephen Schwartz show. I do love Wicked. I think it's fantastic. I just saw, and twice in a week, Some Like It Hot, which is Mark Shyman and Scott Whitman's new musical. With Casey Nichola's direction. It's on Broadway right now. If you're in the New York area, it's fantastic. And they've just released their original Broadway soundtrack. I'm like plugging so many things here. I'm not getting a check from. This is really silly of me, but get your same day tickets, even if you're on a budget. They've got $40 orchestra seats with side view, not partial, but side view. Totally worth it. And yeah, that's probably my highlight reel. And Legally Blonde, the musical, is iconic. If you don't know that if you don't know that soundtrack, it's one of the best film to theater adaptations. It's just one of those like perfect synergies of sensibility. Not calling it high art, but it's a fan favorite.
So good.
Yes.
Right? So good. Favorite band or singer?
Wow. Oh man, because singer kind of makes me think voices, and I'm trying to think who's up there in the voice category. Okay, well, I'll never turn down like some indie pop, like Vampire Weekend, Fun, Dagny, Ralph, a little Mika. These are all like right in the pocket of just like I'm either listening to lo-fi just to mellow out to drone out the worries of the day, or I want to feel like I'm dancing in the living room. So those are kind of the two options.
Right.
And my friend Michael, who works in sound on everything I do as a creator, thus far anyway, is in a band called Pine Barren, and they've just released an album that's on Spotify and anywhere you can stream. So feel free to check them out if you're into a more classic rock vibe with a really cool modern spin. They're based out of Vancouver, and they're great.
That sounds like you, Julie.
Yeah, that does totally sound like me.
Yeah, give them a go.
Right. That sounds amazing. Like I love Mika because it always gives me Queen vibes. So
yeah, have you listened to San Remo? San Remo, in like when after a long day in the shower with a beer is like an end of week treat that you really deserve, Julie.
Okay.
Tried it already.
Need to make that happen.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Scott can get you one of his beers, and
one of his home brews.
Perfect.
My husband home brews. So.
Oh wow, that's so cool. I'm so excited about, just to bring it back to the show for a moment, or the ride. It's so cool that this story ends up bringing that out of people, like whatever they're working on with their hands, or the upbringing they knew that was a little more rural, or we were so lucky to meet some people that come from that background that were living in LA doing press for 20 years, and they go, this is the first time I felt homesick in decades, and that was really, really special. And to get to have those people have a little taste of home, or to be reminded of what they like to do when they're working the land, like that's really, really cool. That's fantastic.
We love that. So Ride is airing Sunday nights, 9/8 Central.
That's right.
7 Mountain, 6 Pacific time. We'll just go right across the country.
Yeah. You got, in this economy, you got to tell everyone exactly when things are airing. Yes.
on the Hallmark channel.
Yes.
And there's 9 more episodes, right?
9 more episodes of this season. We have
Season.
no word on whether there'll be more, but I just want to be a good manifester.
We'll put it out there.
Future. There are 9 more episodes for now.
I feel like it's going to get renewed fast.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm already like banking on season 2.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I need an entire Spotify list of Tough music. So
okay, yeah, ask for it. Ask and
Yeah.
you shall receive. Right?
Yeah.
If the fans rally behind it, those files exist somewhere. But
yeah,
it'll come
I need
from
a
demand.
Spotify list. I need it to go. Let's get that. Let's get that going.
Amazing. Well, Jake, tell everybody where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, I'm at Jake Foy 55 on pretty much every platform. I think I have an account that I've never touched on TikTok, but you can definitely live tweet with us whenever Hallmark is airing new episodes of Ride. The cast is available to you there. And on Instagram, of course, at Jake Foy 55, JakeFoy 55.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here. We love talking with you. Hang on for a second and we'll go off air and say goodbye.
Yes, it was my pleasure. Nice to meet you. And thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.